Between Body and Clay is a short film by artist Davinia-Ann Robinson, with a duration of 15 minutes. Shot in landscape format, we follow the artist through the process of extracting, cleaning, and preparing clay sourced from a local cemetery to be used in a new body of work. The film begins with the camera slowly panning across a dense, earthy surface consisting of lumps of mud, clay, and rocks, softly lit by the sun. Cycling slowly through different camera angles and perspectives of this rugged patch of earth, these short clips are overlaid on one another, and at times they crossfade in and out, perhaps attempting to show the entire expanse of the clay at this particular location.
Bound tight and high in inherited knots, unable to embrace the favour of falling into oneself, its other halves lowered and sitting in the warmth of the earth, allied with itself, patiently waiting, tempering time, knowing that soon they would reconvene. Softening inherited knots, over time able to return, softening inherited knots, selves came together as one.
Cutting to a larger site of excavation, we are met with the head of a digger, filmed side on. The claw-like bucket or head of the digger periodically digs away at the clay, scraping back across the surface, taking another layer out of shot. The artist's hands then investigate this freshly dug area, pressing into and picking away at newly uncovered clay from deep in the ground. Arriving in the artist's studio, through detailed close-ups, the camera follows Davinia's hands as she cleans and processes the clay. Fresh, clear water is poured over large, dry clumps of clay, slowly filling them to the brim. Scum and debris float across a bucket of cloudy clay water. A rotating power tool inserted into a bucket of clay causes the liquid to swirl and ripple. Wet, sand-like material is filtered through a large sieve, tapping its frame to encourage water to pass through. Liquid globules of sand and debris slowly form on the sieve's surface as the water seeps away beneath. Repeating this cleaning process, this liquid is poured over and over again through the sieve, refining the clay even further. Hands collect pebbles and stones left behind during filtering, inspecting them for a moment before moving on. The camera fades to a patch of dry, clumpy earth outside, lit by the sun, before returning indoors. The artist uses a small sponge to transport water from one bucket to another. Submerging the sponge in one, filling it with water, the artist then squeezes it out again, expelling the water in the other bucket. The camera slowly pans across the still water that fills the buckets to the brim. A thin layer of dust-like debris forms a fragmented lattice across its surface. Hands dig deep into a container filled with water, bringing handfuls of hard clay to the surface before letting them go again. Keeping one hand submerged, the artist digs deeper, churning the contents of the bucket over and over. A fabric bag saturated with water is suspended from above, dripping droplets of clear water to the ground below. This process continues, and what remains is a watery clay mixture that is poured into crisp, clean fabric bags that line a handful of buckets. With the bucket of clay nearly empty, it's upturned to reveal the sticky clay remnants stuck to the bottom. Using one cupped hand, The artist drags the remaining material down one side of the bucket, leaving a sticky brown trail. These fabric bags are then raised, allowing the water to drip out of them until only a hard, dense clay remains inside. Multiple thin streams of water run into the container below, slowing to a steady drip. The camera crossfades through shots of different surfaces where remnants of the clay has now dried. It's a thin, patchy layer mimicking a damp, sandy beach at low tide, shaped by the water that was once present. These fabric bags are unhooked and placed on a large work surface. Their contents is slightly loose and malleable, spreading slightly across the table. Fading back to the outdoor rocky terrain, the camera is still for a moment, focusing on this dry clay outside, before returning to the bag of clay in the studio once more. Opening each of the fabric bags in turn, the artist peels out large lumps of sticky clay, which is then spread across a work table. Each clump is oblong and holds the creases and folds of the fabric bags. As these bags are emptied, the artist inspects each one, picking at and collecting clay pieces still stuck to the fabric. The artist presses the extra pieces into the large clay expanse on the table. Digging fingers into the clay, she drags her hands through this sticky mass, spreading it out further across the table. Using a small wooden spatula, the artist scrapes excess clay off her hands, adding it to the clay-covered work surface below. Near the end of the film, we find the artist washing her hands carefully in a bowl of water. The clay-covered table is now dry. Starting at one end, the artist slowly lifts the clay, causing it to break and fragment into smaller segments, each about the size of a magazine. These clay fragments are pressed and worked together, back into one large lump, about the size of a football. Using a thin length of wire, she cuts the clay in half horizontally, lifting off the top to reveal a smooth surface of clay below. As the artist continues to cut and handle the clay, the screen fades to the original rocky landscape again.
Softening inherited knots. Over time, able to return. Softening inherited knots. Selves came together as one.
Credits in white text on a grey background read Between Body and Clay by Davinia-Ann Robinson. Camera, sound, colour and editing by Rhiannon Hunter. Supported by Shape Arts 2024 Adam Reynolds Award, Arts Council England and the Foyle Foundation. Shape Arts registered charity number 279184. Copyright 2024 Davinia-Ann Robinson.